Did you know there are a lot of people that their goal is to get saved? That's awesome, isn't it? But unfortunately, a lot of people get saved and they check that box and think they're done. They just go about their life saying, okay, I'll live out my life, die, and go to heaven now. And I'm not saying they won't if they're truly converted. But God plants in us a seed of salvation that causes us to hunger more for Him, to not want to sin anymore, to not want to grieve the Holy Spirit. There's that seed in us of salvation that causes us to have conviction when we do wrong and we want to do better. And so we draw nigh to Him, closer to Him, so that we can be in a place where God can use us. There's a lot more after salvation. Salvation is the beginning of your relationship with God. It's just the beginning. And God puts that seed inside of us that we start seeking Him out. Seek Him out with all of our heart. And that second work is the baptism of the Holy Spirit. Now, follow me here. When Jesus got baptized, He received, it says in one translation, in the shape of a dove, the Holy Spirit. We don't have any knowledge or recollection or documentation that Jesus received a Pentecost experience like the disciples are going to. Jesus, I believe, methinks, that Jesus received everything He needed during that physical baptism by John the Baptist. Think about this. The disciples were converted when Jesus raised from the dead and He went to heaven and His blood covered the altar and forgiveness, all sins for all mankind, it says. So the disciples were saved. And right after Jesus was risen from the dead, He was with the disciples. And what did He do? He blew on the disciples. What does that mean? Well, if you recall, when Adam was formed from the dirt, God breathed into him life, not just physical life. He breathed into Adam His personality, his characteristics. Jesus says, as I am, so are you in this world. Jesus said, if you see me, you've seen the Father. So whenever God blew into Adam, He gave him His life, not just physical life. And when Jesus blew in the disciples, they didn't have Pentecost, the second work yet, but He was preparing them for Pentecost. And so after His resurrection, He blew on them, it says, the Holy Spirit. So God